Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to another thoughtful and engaging episode of the English Globe. We're so glad to have you with us today. Whether you're listening at home, on your commute, or during a walk, we appreciate your time and curiosity. This podcast is designed to help you improve your English through real-world topics, global issues, and insightful discussions.
Before we begin, we kindly ask you to support our channel. Please like this video, subscribe to the English Globe, and let us know in the comments where you are listening from. We'd also love to hear your opinion about today's topic. Do you use Amazon? What do you think about the company? Your comments help us grow and guide our future episodes.
Today, we're discussing a topic that's both fascinating and complex: Amazon. Known worldwide for its fast shipping, wide selection, and digital services, Amazon has become one of the most powerful companies on Earth. But behind the smiling logo lies a story filled with controversy, criticism, and hidden costs.
In this episode, we'll explore the dark side of Amazon's success story. We'll begin by understanding how the company grew from a small online bookstore into a trillion-dollar empire. Then, in future sections, we'll take you deep inside Amazon's warehouses, look at how it treats workers, and examine the real price of convenience.
Founded by Jeff Bezos in 1994, Amazon began as a small e-commerce experiment. Today, it operates in dozens of countries, employs over 1.5 million people, and controls a massive portion of the internet through Amazon Web Services. It has changed how we shop, read, watch, listen, and even speak to technology.
Many people admire Amazon's innovation, speed, and global reach. The convenience it provides is undeniable. But beneath that surface, there are serious concerns about labor conditions, worker surveillance, environmental impact, data privacy, and tax avoidance. These are issues we must understand and question.
The goal of this series is not to attack Amazon, but to explore it honestly. We want to look beyond the marketing and headlines to ask, what does Amazon's success truly cost, and who pays the price? From factory floors to digital clouds, we'll break it down section by section in clear, real English for our listeners.
We believe in responsible learning. That means not only improving your English, but also expanding your understanding of how the world works. By the end of this series, we hope you'll feel more informed, more confident in your listening skills, and more engaged in global discussions.
So once again, dear listeners, don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to our channel, and comment below with your location and thoughts. Are you surprised by Amazon's influence? Have you ever thought about what goes on behind your one-day delivery? We'd love to hear your honest opinions.
In the next section, we'll go inside Amazon's warehouses, massive spaces where every second is tracked, every movement is monitored, and thousands of workers are under constant pressure. We'll bring you real stories and facts from reliable sources, so stay with us. There's much more to uncover.
You're listening to the English Globe. This is the dark side of Amazon's success story, and this was just the beginning. We look forward to continuing the journey with you. Let's begin with what most people never see: the massive fulfillment centers that power Amazon's famous delivery system. These buildings are the size of stadiums. Inside them, thousands of workers move constantly, scanning, sorting, lifting, and packing items. Everything is timed, measured, and tracked down to the second. It's one of the most optimized systems on the planet.
Yes, and while it might look efficient on paper, many warehouse workers describe it as exhausting, painful, and even dehumanizing. Their every move is monitored. If a worker pauses too long, even just to stretch, the system records it as time off task. Too many pauses can lead to disciplinary action or termination, often without a conversation with a manager.
One former Amazon employee in California told NBC News that she walked over 10 miles per shift. That's like walking a half marathon every day while meeting strict quotas. She said even short bathroom breaks were discouraged, because stopping work could reduce her performance score. Many workers feel like they're racing against a machine, not just time.
And unfortunately, the data confirms that concern. According to a 2020 report by Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting, injury rates at Amazon warehouses were nearly double the industry average. The pressure to meet quotas leads to accidents, repetitive strain, and physical burnout. In some centers, serious injuries occurred at a rate of 7.7 per 100 workers.
That's a shocking number, and it's important to remember that these aren't isolated incidents. The same issues have been reported across Amazon warehouses in the US, the UK, Germany, France, and beyond. In the UK, The Guardian reported that some employees avoided drinking water to reduce restroom breaks. In the US, others claimed they were discouraged from reporting injuries.
It's also worth noting the technology behind these centers. Amazon uses complex algorithms to track productivity. Scanners, wristbands, and computer systems evaluate performance in real time. These tools aren't just helpful, they're controlling. They decide who is productive enough to keep their job. It's a workplace governed by data, not empathy.
And during the COVID-19 pandemic, conditions became even more dangerous. Workers were expected to keep up the same pace, even as health risks increased. In many locations, safety measures were delayed or poorly enforced. Some workers reported that they were told to stay silent about infections, while Amazon focused on keeping operations running.
In 2020 and 2021, Amazon posted record profits. At the same time, warehouse workers were asking for basic protections like masks, temperature checks, and paid sick leave. Many felt that their health was secondary to the company's efficiency. The message was clear. Speed must be maintained, no matter what's happening outside the warehouse walls.
One of the most powerful moments came during the unionization campaign in Bessemer, Alabama. Thousands of Amazon warehouse workers tried to form a union in early 2021. Amazon launched a massive anti-union campaign, sending texts, holding meetings, and even placing anti-union posters in bathroom stalls. In the end, the effort failed, but it sparked a global conversation.
Yes, and the conversation didn't end there. In April 2022, warehouse workers at JFK 8 in Staten Island, New York, voted to form Amazon's first U.S. union. It was a historic moment. The company responded by challenging the results legally, but the workers' message was clear. They wanted a voice. They wanted dignity, fair treatment, and basic rights.
Outside the U.S., Amazon has faced similar backlash. In Germany, warehouse workers have organized repeated strikes. In France, Amazon was forced to temporarily shut down some operations during the pandemic for violating health rules. In India, protests have erupted over wages and hours. These aren't isolated protests. They're part of a global labor pattern.
At the heart of the issue is the company's use of automation and data to push workers to their physical limits. The system treats humans as extensions of machines, tools to be optimized, not people to be respected. This is what many critics call algorithmic management, where software replaces human decision-making entirely.
And as robots and AI become more advanced, some fear that Amazon will eventually replace many human workers altogether. But until that day comes, the people inside these warehouses remain essential. Without them, Amazon simply couldn't deliver on its promise of speed and reliability. Their labor is invisible, but it's critical to the system.
It's easy for customers to forget that there's a human cost behind one-click shopping. When you get a package in 24 hours, someone had to move, scan, lift, and ship it, often at high personal cost. Amazon's systems are built for speed, not sustainability. And the question we must ask is, can a business succeed without compromising human dignity?
That's a question that more and more people, especially young consumers, are starting to ask. Awareness is growing, stories are being shared, and slowly, some workers are starting to push back. But meaningful change will require more than headlines. It will require laws, regulations, and, most importantly, listening to the voices of those on the warehouse floor.
In our next section, we'll shift our focus to Amazon's delivery drivers, the men and women who bring those packages to your doorstep. Many are contractors without health insurance or paid leave. They work long hours, follow strict digital routes, and are often punished by the algorithm when things go wrong. The road may be short, but the pressure is long.
So stay with us as we continue our journey into the dark side of Amazon's success story. What looks fast and easy on the surface often hides a system built on exhaustion and invisible labor. Thank you for listening to the English Globe. We'll be back with more. Julia, we just discussed the warehouse conditions, but there's another troubling issue: Amazon's treatment of third-party sellers. At first glance, Amazon seems like a great platform for small businesses to grow. But over time, many sellers have reported being undercut or even pushed off the platform once Amazon identifies a high-selling product.
Exactly, Adam. It's been documented that Amazon has used data from third-party sellers to create their own competing products. This means Amazon watches what sells well, then launches an Amazon-branded version of that product, often priced lower. The sellers who brought innovation and effort into the platform feel betrayed.
That's right. In 2020, the Wall Street Journal published a report detailing how Amazon employees used sensitive data from independent sellers to develop private label goods. Amazon denied this practice publicly, but investigations and whistleblowers painted a different picture behind the scenes.
And let's not forget the buy box. For those unfamiliar, it's the default add to cart option when you shop. Amazon has been accused of favoring its own products or preferred sellers in the buy box, making it harder for others to compete, even when they offer better deals or faster shipping.
This has serious consequences. Many small sellers feel they are not on a level playing field. Some have even gone out of business after investing years into building their stores. The platform that once promised opportunity can suddenly turn against them without warning or explanation.
And Adam, this isn't just about the US market. Sellers in Europe and Asia face the same problems. The European Commission opened a formal investigation into Amazon in 2020 for using non-public seller data to compete unfairly. There's a global pattern of dominance and control here.
It's an important reminder, Julia, that innovation doesn't just come from big companies. Many of the products we enjoy started with small creators and entrepreneurs. But when they're squeezed out, consumers lose variety, quality, and often pay more in the long run.
Agreed. Now let's turn to another troubling area: Amazon's tax practices. Despite making hundreds of billions in revenue, Amazon has a long history of paying little to no federal income taxes in the United States. In some years, they even received tax refunds.
That's shocking to many people. In 2018 and 2019, Amazon paid $0 in U.S. federal income tax. They reported massive profits, over $11 billion in 2018, yet received a $129 million tax rebate. This was due to a combination of tax credits, loopholes, and aggressive accounting.
It's legal, but is it ethical? That's the big question. Amazon benefits from public infrastructure, government services, and digital systems built with taxpayer money. But their contribution to that system is disproportionately small compared to their profits.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, small businesses and individuals pay their fair share. This creates an imbalance in the system and undermines public trust. If the largest companies don't contribute, governments struggle to fund schools, roads, and healthcare.
This issue isn't just limited to the US. In Europe, Amazon has been investigated and fined for shifting profits to low-tax countries like Luxembourg to avoid paying taxes in larger markets like Germany, France, and the UK. The European Union fined Amazon €250 million in 2021 for illegal tax benefits.
And despite that fine, many critics say it's just a slap on the wrist. The savings Amazon gets from these tax strategies far outweigh the occasional penalty. It's a strategic cost of doing business for them, but it hurts the global economy.
So, Adam, we've talked about worker conditions, third-party sellers, and now tax avoidance. There's clearly a pattern of aggressive tactics designed to maximize profit, often at the expense of fairness, ethics, and transparency.
Yes, and let's not forget about surveillance and privacy. Amazon owns Ring, the home security company, and Alexa, the voice assistant. Both collect vast amounts of data from users, which has raised serious concerns from privacy advocates.
Right. Ring has partnered with police departments across the US, giving law enforcement access to user footage. Critics say this creates a surveillance network that can be abused and often lacks proper oversight. And Alexa, while convenient, is always listening, sometimes even recording without a wake word.
In 2019, it was revealed that Amazon workers were listening to thousands of Alexa recordings to improve speech recognition. Many users weren't aware this was happening. Even conversations with sensitive information were sometimes reviewed manually.
This all ties back to trust. Consumers trust companies like Amazon with personal data, purchases, and even security. But when companies don't clearly disclose how data is used or fail to protect it, they risk violating that trust.
And with so much of our lives now online, shopping, communication, home automation, it's crucial that we question how tech giants like Amazon handle our data and privacy rights.
Exactly. We'll dive deeper into Amazon's environmental impact next, but before we move on, it's important to highlight how all these issues are connected. Amazon's success has not been built solely on innovation, but on an aggressive business model that often leaves others behind.
Well said, Julia. And for our listeners, we're eager to know, what are your thoughts so far? Are you surprised by any of this? Let us know in the comments. And if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the English Globe for more real talk on global issues. Julia, Amazon isn't just a retailer or delivery giant. It's also one of the world's largest collectors of personal data. From our shopping habits to voice commands, and even video from home security devices, Amazon gathers an incredible amount of information about its customers. This data fuels their business in ways most people don't fully understand.
That's right, Adam. Every time we use Alexa to play music or check the weather or shop online, Amazon is collecting data. This information helps improve their services, but it also enables targeted advertising and influences purchasing behaviors. Many users aren't aware how much data is gathered or how it's used.
It goes deeper than that. Amazon owns Ring, the home security camera system installed in millions of homes worldwide. Ring's partnership with hundreds of police departments means video footage from customers' doorbells can be accessed by law enforcement. This has raised serious privacy concerns and questions about surveillance without warrants.
Exactly. There have been reports that police officers can request footage from Ring users, sometimes without clear legal processes. Critics worry this creates a surveillance network that disproportionately targets minority communities and threatens civil liberties. It's a new kind of watchtower, right on your front porch.
Then there's Alexa itself. Amazon's voice assistant is always listening for its wake word, but sometimes it records conversations unintentionally. In 2019, it came to light that Amazon employed thousands of people around the world to listen to and transcribe Alexa recordings to improve the system. Some of these recordings included private, sensitive conversations.
Many customers were shocked by that revelation. They had no idea their private interactions might be heard by strangers. Amazon later introduced new privacy controls, including the ability to delete recordings and mute microphones, but the trust was already shaken. It's a reminder that convenience comes with a privacy cost.
Beyond devices, Amazon's core business, Amazon Web Services, AWS, runs a huge part of the Internet's infrastructure. From government agencies to popular apps and websites, AWS powers data storage and cloud computing. This gives Amazon significant influence over global digital services and raises questions about data security and monopoly power.
AWS hosts everything from Netflix to the CIA, and even immigration enforcement agencies like ICE. This involvement with controversial government contracts has sparked debates about ethics and accountability. Should a private company provide technology that supports immigration raids or surveillance programs?
And with so much data stored on Amazon's servers, cybersecurity is a critical issue. While Amazon invests heavily in security, no system is invulnerable. Data breaches could expose millions of users' private information. This concentration of data in a few giant companies worries many experts who call for stronger regulations.
In recent years, governments have started paying more attention. The European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, imposes strict rules on how companies collect and process data. Amazon has faced fines and investigations for not fully complying. The debate continues. How do we balance innovation with individual privacy rights?
For consumers, the challenge is awareness. How much do we really know about the data footprint we leave behind? Every click, every voice command, every security camera video is part of a vast data ecosystem. Amazon's model profits from this information, often without full transparency.
That's why it's crucial to stay informed and take control where possible. Use privacy settings, regularly review permissions, and consider the trade-offs between convenience and privacy. Our data is valuable, and protecting it is a responsibility shared between companies and consumers alike.
So, Julia, Amazon's data empire touches nearly every part of our digital lives, from shopping and entertainment to home security and cloud infrastructure. It's a powerful system, but also one that demands scrutiny and debate.
Absolutely. And in the next section, we'll explore Amazon's market power and how it influences the businesses that sell on its platform. The story of Amazon is complex, full of innovation but shadowed by challenges we must understand.
Julia, one of the most critical aspects of Amazon's influence is its dominance over the online marketplace. It's estimated that over 60% of all online product searches in the United States begin on Amazon. This gives Amazon an extraordinary gatekeeping role in retail, shaping what customers see, buy, and how sellers operate.
That's true, Adam. Many small businesses rely on Amazon's platform to reach customers they couldn't otherwise access. At first, this seems like a win-win. Sellers get exposure, and Amazon expands its product range. However, this relationship is far from equal. Sellers are often at Amazon's mercy when it comes to fees, rules, and visibility.
Amazon charges sellers various fees, referral fees, storage fees, and advertising costs, among others. While these fees help Amazon maintain its infrastructure, for many sellers, they can be prohibitively high. A small business might see up to 40% of its sales revenue go to Amazon after all costs are deducted.
Moreover, Amazon controls the algorithms that decide which products appear in search results and the coveted buy box. Sellers who don't meet strict performance metrics or who cannot afford advertising often find their products hidden or ranked lower, even if their prices are competitive or quality is superior.
A particularly controversial practice is Amazon's use of sales data from third-party sellers to identify popular products, then launching its own private label versions. Many sellers have accused Amazon of copycatting their products and using insider data to compete unfairly against them on the same platform.
In 2020, the Wall Street Journal exposed internal documents and interviews showing how Amazon employees regularly analyzed sales figures and inventoried third-party sellers to inform their private label product development. This tactic has drawn regulatory scrutiny and damaged Amazon's reputation among sellers.
For sellers, the power imbalance is stark. If Amazon decides to suspend a seller's account for alleged policy violations, which can sometimes be vague or automated, the seller can lose access to their entire business overnight, often without clear explanation or immediate recourse.
Many small entrepreneurs describe Amazon as a necessary evil. They need the platform for exposure and sales, but feel trapped by high fees, unpredictable policies, and constant competition against Amazon's own products. This environment discourages innovation and risks pushing out independent businesses.
Regulators are beginning to take notice. Both the European Union and the United States have launched investigations into Amazon's market practices, focusing on how the company leverages data and controls marketplace dynamics to disadvantage competitors and favor its own goods.
One EU probe highlighted Amazon's dual role as both marketplace operator and competitor to sellers as a conflict of interest. Critics argue that this creates unfair competition and violates antitrust laws designed to protect market fairness and consumer choice.
The stakes are high, not just for sellers, but for consumers. Less competition can lead to higher prices, fewer choices, and lower quality products. When a single company controls such a large portion of the retail ecosystem, it has a profound impact on the entire economy.
Consumers may not realize that their one-click purchase decisions can inadvertently support monopolistic practices. Amazon's dominance shapes supply chains, employment patterns, and even product design. Understanding this influence is crucial to becoming an informed and responsible shopper.
So, Julia, the question is, how do we balance the benefits of Amazon's convenience with the need for fair competition and support for small businesses? There's no simple answer, but increased awareness, regulation, and alternative platforms are part of the solution.
Exactly, Adam. And for consumers, supporting local and independent sellers, using diverse marketplaces, and advocating for fair business practices can help create a healthier, more competitive retail environment.
As we continue this series, we'll explore Amazon's environmental impact next, another important but often overlooked dimension of the company's global footprint.
Thank you for listening. We encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about Amazon's role in the marketplace? What has been your experience as a customer or seller? Remember to like and subscribe for more in-depth discussions here on the English Globe.
Julia, beyond warehouses and marketplaces, Amazon wields significant power in politics and policymaking. The company spends millions of dollars each year lobbying governments around the world to shape laws in its favor. This influence impacts regulations on taxes, labor, data privacy, and competition.
Exactly, Adam. Lobbying allows Amazon to protect and expand its business interests by influencing legislation before it becomes law. In the United States alone, Amazon spent over $18 million on lobbying efforts in 2021, making it one of the top corporate lobbyists in Washington, D.C.
Amazon's lobbying targets a wide range of issues. These include opposing stricter labor protections that could increase costs, advocating for tax policies that minimize their payments, and influencing antitrust investigations. By investing in lobbying, Amazon shapes the rules to maintain its competitive edge.
In addition to direct lobbying, Amazon also supports think tanks, trade associations, and political campaigns. These activities help build alliances with lawmakers and regulators, allowing Amazon to access decision-makers and frame public debates around technology, e-commerce, and privacy.
Critics argue that Amazon's political power creates an uneven playing field. Smaller competitors and worker advocacy groups often lack the resources to match Amazon's influence. This imbalance can slow or weaken regulations designed to protect consumers, workers, and fair competition.
One example is Amazon's response to antitrust scrutiny. Investigations in the US and Europe have examined whether Amazon abuses its dominant market position. Amazon has used lobbying to argue against restrictive regulations, presenting itself as a job creator and innovation leader.
Yet, some lawmakers express concern that Amazon's scale gives it too much control over markets and data. There are calls for stricter oversight, including breaking up parts of Amazon's business or limiting its ability to compete with third-party sellers on its own platform.
Amazon also lobbies at the local level, influencing policies on zoning, labor laws, and tax incentives for building warehouses and data centers. These efforts sometimes clash with community concerns about traffic, pollution, and labor conditions, raising questions about corporate accountability.
Transparency is another issue. While lobbying is legal and regulated, the complex networks of spending and influence can be difficult for the public to follow. Critics say this opacity allows Amazon to wield power behind closed doors, without adequate public scrutiny.
The broader question is how much influence large corporations like Amazon should have in shaping laws and policies that affect billions of people. When business interests outweigh public interests, democracy and fairness can be threatened.
For consumers and citizens, understanding Amazon's political role is crucial. It's not just about buying products, it's about who controls the rules of the economy and society. Staying informed and demanding transparency are important steps toward balance.
In the next section, we'll explore Amazon's role in global labor rights beyond warehouses, looking at how the company's practices affect workers in its supply chain and partner companies worldwide.
The story of Amazon is not only about profits and innovation, but also about power and responsibility. We'll keep digging deeper. Julia, we've talked a lot about Amazon's warehouses and delivery drivers, but the company's reach extends far beyond that. Its global supply chain involves millions of workers in factories, farms, and shipping ports worldwide. These workers face their own challenges, often in countries with weaker labor protections.
Absolutely, Adam. Amazon sources products from all over the world, including electronics, clothing, and household goods. Many of these items come from factories in countries like China, Bangladesh, and Vietnam, where workers sometimes endure low wages, long hours, and unsafe conditions.
Reports from organizations like Amnesty International and the Clean Clothes Campaign have highlighted issues such as child labor, forced overtime, and poor safety standards in factories producing goods for Amazon's sellers or private label brands. Although Amazon states it has codes of conduct, enforcement is difficult across such a vast network.
One major concern is transparency. While Amazon publishes some information about its supply chain and audits factories, critics argue that much remains hidden. Independent investigations often reveal violations that go unaddressed or are quickly fixed only during audits.
The fast-paced nature of e-commerce adds pressure. Factories must meet tight deadlines to supply products for seasonal sales or new releases, which can encourage exploitative practices. Workers may be forced to work excessive hours without proper breaks or overtime pay.
Amazon has introduced programs aimed at improving supplier standards and sustainability, but these initiatives face significant challenges. The sheer size of the supply chain makes it difficult to monitor every facility effectively, and many factories subcontract work to smaller units that are even harder to regulate.
The COVID-19 pandemic further exposed vulnerabilities in global supply chains. Factory shutdowns, shipping delays, and increased demand led to increased workloads and stress for workers. Some reports indicated that health and safety protections were inadequate, increasing risks for laborers.
Another issue is the environmental impact within the supply chain. Factories often operate with little regard for pollution, water use, and waste management. This adds another layer to Amazon's environmental footprint, showing that sustainability concerns extend far beyond warehouses and delivery vehicles.
Consumers can play a role by demanding more transparency and supporting brands that prioritize fair labor practices. Advocacy groups encourage buyers to ask questions and pressure companies to take responsibility for their entire supply chains.
Ultimately, Amazon's global labor practices highlight the complexity of ethical business in a connected world. Success comes at many costs, and addressing these requires cooperation between companies, governments, workers, and consumers.
Next, we'll look at how emerging technologies like automation and AI might reshape Amazon's workforce, potentially reducing jobs but also changing the nature of work itself.
It's a critical discussion as we consider the future of work in an age dominated by tech giants like Amazon.
Julia, we've seen how Amazon's massive workforce operates in warehouses and across the supply chain, but now there's a growing trend toward automation and artificial intelligence. Robots and smart systems are transforming Amazon's operations, promising greater efficiency, but also raising questions about the future of human jobs.
That's a crucial topic, Adam. Amazon has invested billions in robotics technology over the past decade. Its acquisition of Kiva Systems in 2012 marked a major shift toward automated fulfillment centers. Today, many warehouses use robots to transport shelves and pallets, reducing the need for human labor in some tasks.
These robots significantly increase speed and accuracy. They reduce the physical strain on workers by moving heavy items, allowing employees to focus on picking and packing. But the technology also brings uncertainty. Some fear it could replace many human jobs entirely, especially routine or repetitive roles.
Indeed. While automation may eliminate some tasks, Amazon argues that it creates new opportunities. The company often highlights that robots work alongside humans, supporting rather than replacing them. However, reports suggest that many workers feel pressured to keep pace with robotic efficiency, increasing stress and exhaustion.
There's also the issue of job quality. Automation may shift human work from physical labor to more technical roles, such as robot maintenance or data analysis. But not all workers have the skills or training to transition easily. This could lead to job displacement or underemployment for many warehouse employees.
Training and reskilling programs are vital. Amazon has launched initiatives like the Upskilling 2025 program, promising to train 100,000 employees for higher skilled positions. Yet, critics question whether these efforts are sufficient or accessible to all workers, especially those in entry-level roles.
On the other hand, automation can improve safety by reducing the risk of injuries from heavy lifting or repetitive motions. Robots handle dangerous tasks, and AI systems can monitor working conditions in real time, identifying hazards before accidents occur.
True, Adam. But the integration of AI also raises privacy and surveillance concerns. Amazon uses AI-driven performance tracking to monitor worker productivity closely. These systems analyze speed, accuracy, and even movement patterns, sometimes issuing warnings or penalties based on data without human judgment.
This algorithmic management can create a work environment where employees feel constantly watched and pressured, potentially leading to mental health issues. The balance between efficiency and humane treatment is delicate and often controversial in such highly automated workplaces.
Looking ahead, the expansion of AI and robotics in logistics is likely to accelerate. Amazon has filed patents for fully automated warehouses, drone delivery systems, and even cashierless stores. These innovations promise faster service, but may further reduce demand for human labor in traditional roles.
The question becomes, how will society adapt to these changes? Automation can increase productivity and lower costs, benefiting consumers and businesses. But without thoughtful policies, it risks increasing unemployment and economic inequality, especially among less skilled workers.
Governments, companies, and communities must collaborate to manage this transition. Ideas such as universal basic income, job retraining programs, and new labor laws are being debated worldwide. Amazon, as a global leader, has a responsibility to lead by example in supporting its workforce through this change.
The future of work at Amazon is not just about technology, it's about people. How the company balances innovation with employee well-being will shape its legacy. Will automation empower workers, or will it deepen existing challenges? Time will tell.
As consumers and citizens, staying informed and advocating for ethical use of technology is essential. Technology should serve humanity, not the other way around. Amazon's automation journey reflects broader questions about the future of work in the 21st century.
In our final section, we will reflect on Amazon's overall impact and consider what a more sustainable and equitable future might look like for workers, consumers, and society.
Thank you for joining us as we continue this deep exploration of Amazon's story, its achievements, and its shadows.
Julia, when we think of Amazon, we often imagine a global tech giant or an online marketplace. But its impact also reaches deep into local communities, often in ways that are less visible. From small-town retailers to urban neighborhoods, Amazon's growth has reshaped the economic and social fabric at the local level, sometimes with troubling consequences.
Absolutely, Adam. While Amazon provides unparalleled convenience for customers everywhere, its expansion has challenged many local businesses that rely on in-person sales. Brick-and-mortar stores often struggle to compete with Amazon's vast selection, low prices, and fast delivery, leading to store closures and job losses in communities.
The Amazon effect, as economists call it, refers to the ripple impacts that the company's dominance has on traditional retail. Small shops often can't match Amazon's pricing or logistics capabilities. When these stores shut down, it affects not just the economy, but also the social dynamics. Local shops are places where communities connect and build relationships.
Exactly. Many small business owners have expressed frustration that Amazon doesn't just compete, but uses its market power to pressure suppliers and control product pricing. This can squeeze margins, making it even harder for independent retailers to survive. Some feel Amazon acts like a gatekeeper, deciding who can reach customers.
Moreover, Amazon's fulfillment centers, while providing jobs, sometimes bring mixed outcomes to local communities. On one hand, they create employment opportunities, often in regions with fewer alternatives. On the other hand, these jobs may come with demanding work conditions, low wages, and limited benefits compared to traditional industries.
There's also concern about the environmental and infrastructural impacts. Large fulfillment centers generate increased traffic, noise, and pollution, which can strain local resources. Communities near these centers sometimes report challenges like congestion and wear on roads, affecting quality of life.
Additionally, Amazon's presence can influence local tax revenues. While the company collects sales taxes in many regions, its overall tax strategies often minimize contributions to the local governments where it operates. This can reduce funding available for schools, infrastructure, and social services in those communities.
This situation creates a paradox. Amazon's economic footprint grows, but the benefits to local areas are uneven. Some community leaders have called for greater accountability and partnerships that ensure Amazon invests more in the well-being of the places it touches.
On the flip side, there are success stories where Amazon has collaborated with local suppliers and entrepreneurs. Its marketplace allows small businesses to reach global customers. Some retailers use Amazon as a complement to their physical stores, blending online and offline sales strategies.
True, Adam. But these opportunities are often limited to sellers who can navigate Amazon's complex system, pay fees, and compete with Amazon's own products. For many small businesses, the platform feels more like a battleground than a partnership.
Some cities and states have begun exploring ways to support local retailers and balance Amazon's influence. Initiatives include shop local campaigns, incentives for small business innovation, and regulation of warehouse development to protect neighborhoods.
Ultimately, the impact of Amazon on local communities is multifaceted. It brings convenience and jobs, but also disruption and challenges. As consumers, recognizing this complexity helps us make choices that support vibrant, diverse local economies.
Julia, what do you think are some practical steps communities and policymakers can take to ensure Amazon's growth benefits everyone, not just shareholders?
I believe transparency is key. Communities should have clear information about Amazon's local operations and impacts. Policymakers can require fair wages, environmental protections, and contributions to local taxes. Encouraging collaboration between Amazon and local businesses could create win-win situations.
Education and support for small businesses are crucial too. Helping local entrepreneurs improve their online presence and compete effectively can strengthen community economies. Public awareness campaigns can also encourage consumers to balance convenience with supporting local retailers.
Consumers have power through their choices, buying locally when possible, using small businesses' online stores, and advocating for fair economic policies all make a difference. Communities thrive when diversity and equity are prioritized.
Amazon's story is a reminder that global success has local consequences. Understanding those effects is essential to building a future where innovation and community well-being go hand in hand.
And with that, we invite our listeners to reflect on how they can contribute to healthy local economies while navigating the convenience of the digital age.
You know, Julia, as we keep digging deeper into Amazon's impact, one word keeps popping up again and again: monopoly. It's a heavy word, one that's often associated with old robber barons from history. But here we are, in the 21st century, and people are seriously debating whether Amazon has become a monopoly in disguise.
Yes, Adam. And what's really interesting, and frankly a bit frightening, is how quietly this dominance has grown. Amazon didn't just come out and declare, "Hey, we're taking over retail." It built its empire step by step through innovation, speed, and convenience. And while many of us were excited to get fast deliveries and cheaper prices, we didn't realize what we were giving up in return.
Exactly. Think about this. Amazon started as a bookstore, just books. But now, it sells almost everything: clothes, electronics, food, furniture, even prescription medication. And here's the kicker. It doesn't just sell products made by others. It sells its own products alongside the competition, and sometimes even copies what's selling well.
That's the Amazon Basics strategy. Amazon monitors what third-party sellers are doing well on their platform, then creates their own version and promotes it heavily. It's like inviting small businesses to sell in your marketplace, then watching them succeed, copying their ideas, and pushing them out.
Right. And many sellers have spoken out. They say Amazon uses their data, like what's trending, what's getting reviews, what customers are clicking, and then undercuts them. If you're a small brand, how do you compete with a company that controls the platform and sells the same products?
It's nearly impossible. It's like you're playing a game where the referee is also your opponent, and this is where that idea of monopoly really starts to take shape. In traditional monopolies, a company dominates one area. But Amazon's dominance is more complex. It's not just retail. It's logistics. It's cloud computing with AWS. It's advertising, publishing, streaming.
Exactly. Amazon Web Services, or AWS, is actually one of the biggest profit centers for Amazon. Many people don't realize that when they visit websites, stream content, or use apps, there's a good chance they're relying on Amazon's cloud infrastructure. Even Netflix and government websites use AWS.
So, in a way, we're all relying on Amazon, even when we don't realize it. And that gives Amazon enormous power, not just over what we buy, but also over how the internet functions.
It reminds me of a story I read about a startup company that relied on AWS for their website. When Amazon launched a competing product, the startup suddenly faced technical issues and delays on AWS. They couldn't prove it was sabotage, but the timing was suspicious. When one company holds that much power over infrastructure, it can shape entire markets.
And it's not just competitors, it's communities too. When Amazon sets up a new warehouse, yes, they create jobs. But many of these jobs are low-wage, high-pressure, and physically demanding. Small local retailers often can't compete and are forced to shut down. The whole community becomes more dependent on Amazon, even if it means lower wages and fewer local businesses.
It's the Walmart effect, but digital. Walmart was once accused of destroying small-town economies. Amazon is now doing that on a global scale, but with faster shipping.
And here's another twist. Amazon is not just big. It's invisible. So much of what it does happens behind the scenes. Their warehouses are not on main streets. Their cloud services are hidden in data centers. Their advertising is quietly shaping what we see online. It's this massive force, but you rarely see its full size unless you step back.
That's a powerful observation. When a company becomes essential, but invisible, it can make decisions that affect millions without much public scrutiny, like changing commission rates for sellers, or altering search algorithms, or removing entire brands. And because of Amazon's size, those changes can crush businesses overnight.
And the issue is, who holds them accountable? Regulation hasn't caught up yet. Antitrust laws were written for companies that controlled railroads or oil pipelines, not tech giants that own digital marketplaces and cloud servers.
That's true. In the US and Europe, lawmakers are starting to raise concerns. There have been hearings, investigations, even lawsuits. But Amazon has a powerful legal team. They argue they're not a monopoly because customers choose to shop there, and technically, people can still buy from other websites.
But the question is, do they really have a choice? If Amazon controls the first page of search results, if their delivery is faster than anyone else's, and if most of the internet relies on AWS, then are we really choosing or are we just following what's convenient?
It's a subtle kind of control. Amazon isn't forcing anyone, but they've made it so easy, so cheap, and so integrated that most people don't even consider alternatives.
And it goes even deeper. Think about the Alexa devices. They're listening, learning about habits, routines, and preferences. Amazon is gathering so much data, not just on shopping, but on life itself. They know when we're home, what music we play, what groceries we need.
That's another monopoly, not just of commerce, but of information. The more data they collect, the better they get at predicting and influencing our behavior.
And once a company gets that much insight into your life, they're not just a store, they're a system, an ecosystem. Leaving becomes hard. Competing becomes harder.
So maybe the real question is, how do we balance innovation with fairness? How do we make sure companies like Amazon serve society, not control it?
That's the big challenge for our generation. We love convenience. We love innovation. But we also need transparency, competition, and accountability. Otherwise, we risk building a future that looks shiny on the surface, but is deeply unequal underneath.
Beautifully said, Julia. And to our listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Amazon has become too powerful? Have you or someone you know been affected as a worker, a seller, or a customer?
Leave us a comment and let us know where you're listening from and how Amazon impacts your life. We want to include your voices in future episodes.
Julia, let's now dive into one of the most controversial topics tied to Amazon's rise, its labor practices. Many people admire Amazon for its efficiency, but the human cost behind this speed is often hidden. Numerous reports over the past decade have highlighted poor working conditions, especially in warehouses. Workers are under intense pressure to meet productivity quotas, and failure can result in penalties or even termination.
That's right, Adam. For example, in 2021, a report by the New York Times revealed that some Amazon warehouse employees in New York were being monitored by algorithms that tracked their every move. If workers paused too long, even for a bathroom break, they risked losing their jobs. This kind of surveillance creates a stressful environment and leads to physical and mental fatigue, especially for low-wage workers.
And let's not forget the injury rates. A study by the Strategic Organizing Center found that Amazon workers were injured at nearly twice the rate of workers at non-Amazon warehouses. In 2021, they reported 6.8 injuries per 100 workers. These injuries mostly occur because of the intense pace required by the company's logistics systems, and many former employees say safety is often sacrificed for speed.
Yes, and even delivery drivers haven't been spared. Many drivers work long shifts, deliver hundreds of packages daily, and are not technically Amazon employees. Instead, they work for third-party contractors, which allows Amazon to avoid liability for worker injuries or unsafe conditions. Drivers have reported skipping meals or restroom breaks to meet tight delivery schedules tracked by GPS.
And what's alarming is how Amazon's system uses data to enforce discipline. According to a report by Vice, warehouse workers can be automatically fired by the system without any human supervisor involved. It's a system designed for maximum output, but it raises serious ethical questions. Where is the balance between efficiency and dignity at work?
Exactly. The pressure has led to reports of workers urinating in bottles or skipping medical treatment. A 2020 exposed by The Guardian included interviews with workers who described collapsing on the warehouse floor from exhaustion. One woman said she was afraid to report her pain because she feared being replaced. That fear-driven work culture is what many labor advocates are now challenging.
Amazon has made efforts to counter this criticism. They've raised their minimum wage to $15 an hour in the U.S. and launched safety initiatives, including a $300 million investment in worker safety technology. But critics argue that money alone doesn't fix systemic issues. The root problem, they say, is Amazon's obsession with speed, which leaves little room for humane working conditions.
And let's be honest, while $15 an hour sounds good on paper, it doesn't offset the physical toll. Most warehouse jobs are extremely repetitive, with workers doing the same motions thousands of times per shift. That repetitive stress leads to long-term injuries, and the company's high turnover rate suggests many workers don't last long enough to benefit from higher wages.
Plus, the turnover issue is huge. Reports show that Amazon burns through workers so quickly that it risks running out of people to hire in some areas. An internal memo leaked in 2022 revealed concerns about exhausting the labor pool. That says a lot about how unsustainable the system might be over time.
And unionization efforts are growing because of this. We saw a major union vote in Bessemer, Alabama, in 2021. Though it initially failed, it sparked national conversation. Later, in 2022, workers in Staten Island successfully voted to form Amazon's first U.S. union. It shows that employees are beginning to demand more rights and protections, and they're not afraid of challenging a giant.
Amazon has pushed back hard against these movements. They've spent millions on anti-union campaigns and have even held mandatory meetings to discourage workers from organizing. They argue that a union could slow innovation and flexibility, but at the same time, they haven't provided convincing alternatives to fix the core problems workers are facing.
One of the biggest ironies is that many customers don't realize the cost of their one-day delivery. The comfort of fast shipping comes at the expense of someone else's physical and emotional well-being. And unless consumers start paying attention to how these services work behind the scenes, not much will change.
That's a great point, Julia. Ethical consumption means asking hard questions. Yes, Amazon is convenient, but are we supporting a system that overworks and undervalues its workers? It's easy to focus only on the benefits as customers, but the human impact must be part of the story too. We all play a role in shaping corporate behavior.
And perhaps we should think beyond speed. What if slower shipping meant better jobs? Or what if customers were willing to pay slightly more for a service that ensured fair working conditions? It's a cultural shift, but one that may be necessary if we want a more balanced, ethical economy.
Well said. As we continue our discussion, we'll look deeper into how Amazon's labor model reflects broader trends in global capitalism. What happens at Amazon often sets the tone for other companies. If Amazon treats workers poorly and succeeds, others may follow. But if workers win reforms, it could ripple throughout the industry.
And that's why this conversation matters, not just for Amazon, but for the future of work in the digital age. Stay with us, listeners, as we continue to unpack these important issues in our next section.
Julia, after exploring so many aspects of Amazon's rise, the innovation, the scale, but also the human costs and controversies, it's clear the company represents a complex reality. Amazon has changed how we shop, work, and interact with technology, but it also raises tough questions about fairness, power, and responsibility.
Absolutely, Adam. Amazon's story is a mirror reflecting broader challenges in the global economy. Issues like labor rights, environmental impact, privacy, and corporate influence aren't unique to one company. They are systemic. Yet, because Amazon is so large and influential, it becomes a focal point for these debates.
One key takeaway is the importance of balance. Innovation and efficiency shouldn't come at the expense of worker dignity or environmental sustainability. Companies must find ways to grow while respecting human rights and protecting the planet. This isn't just ethical, it's essential for long-term success.
That's right. And governments have a critical role to play by enforcing laws that ensure fair competition, protect workers, and regulate data use. Transparent reporting, independent audits, and accountability are needed to prevent abuses and promote trust.
Consumers also hold power through their choices. Supporting ethical businesses, demanding transparency, and advocating for better practices can drive change. When customers prioritize sustainability and fairness, companies like Amazon must respond or risk losing loyalty.
Amazon itself has the opportunity to lead. By investing more in worker welfare, embracing environmental responsibility, and committing to transparent governance, the company can redefine what success means in the 21st century. Innovation should include social progress, not just profits.
Education and dialogue are also vital. Understanding the complexities behind convenient shopping helps us become more thoughtful citizens. Platforms like the English Globe aim to inform and empower listeners to engage critically with these issues.
Looking ahead, the future is not predetermined. Technology, policy, and consumer behavior will shape how companies like Amazon evolve. The choices made today will influence whether the digital economy is inclusive and just or further entrenches inequality.
Julia, what final message would you share with our listeners about Amazon and the broader challenges we face?
I'd say it's important to stay curious, informed, and proactive. Change starts with awareness. By questioning how products are made, who benefits, and what the costs are, each of us can contribute to a fairer future. Amazon's story is still being written, and we all have a part to play.
Well said. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the dark side of Amazon's success. We hope this series has shed light on important realities and inspired thoughtful reflection.
Thank you all for listening to the English Globe. Until next time, stay engaged, stay informed, and take care of yourselves and each other.